Welcome to FTK Feature Focus, and this week we're going to be talking about additional analysis. You don't have to do everything up front. Do only what you need. Thanks for watching. Welcome to this week's episode. Welcome to FTK Feature Focus. I'm Justin Tolman, the Director of Training over North America here at Xterra. And today, like I said, I will be showing additional analysis. And the usefulness of additional analysis is that you don't have to do everything up front before you know what you're looking at. When you process items, you want to be processing the things that are going to give you a return, whatever you need. For example, I don't hash up front unless I'm going to use something like known file filter, duplicates, or Project Vic or something in that area, because there's no point in hashing every little file on the drive if I'm not going to use any processing options that depend on hashing. So what I can do is work my case, and when I get the files that I'm going to report on, I will hash those as their signature as they travel through the rest of the legal litigation report cycle. So we'll just walk through a quick example of using additional analysis, some of the options and different things that we can do there. So here we are on FTK. We're going to create a case, and we're going to call this FTK Feature Focus, and we'll just call it Carve, because spoiler alert, that's what we're going to be doing. And we don't have a saved profile for this because it's going to be super tiny. So we'll go ahead and customize it. So again, we'll turn off our hashing. We're not going to expand anything. We don't need that. We're not going to search text index. Yeah, sure, we'll create thumbnails because this image has some graphics in it, and include deleted files, sure, and we don't need to populate. So we're just going to turn everything off. We could save our user profile again as basic graphics. We have basically nothing here, so we'll say save. We gave it a name. We'll click OK. Once our case loads up, we'll go up to evidence, and what are we doing? Add remove, and we'll add. And we've got an acquired image here. We'll say OK. And we want this one right here. Carve 512 underscore 4.001. We're going to bring that in. This time we'll set to America, Los Angeles. And we'll hit go. A few seconds later with this tiny little image, it is done. So we'll hit close. And we can just quickly browse through it. You know, we run our case, whatever. We have one directory. We select it. All right, we have an image here of a forested area. Cool. But we're not finding what we want to see. We notice we have a deleted directory in there. That's kind of interesting. We can check our unallocated space, and we have a couple chunks in there. If we select one and switch over to the hex, hey, look, this is a document, may overwrite some stuff, and we can see what looks like some EXIF data. Okay, maybe we need to do some data carving for some missing files, but we didn't run that up front. And unless you know something is going to be in your carved space, I would recommend not doing it up front. And we'll talk about why right now. So we have this unallocated space, and the way that FTK shows unallocated space, unused space within a partition, is we abstract that as files. So this is a chunk, a contiguous chunk of unallocated space. This is another one, so on and so forth down through the disk. So if we wanted to narrow our carve down, notice that we've selected this one, and we see, okay, there's some indications of a picture here. We can just select that one, highlight or check, doesn't matter, and only carve in this limited space. That means the carving process is quick, and we're not going to scan the entire drive. Okay, so one thing I do want to do with this is I'm going to select this, and I'm also going to select this graphic here just to show you how we're going to get to where we're going to get as a comparison. So we'll go up to evidence and additional analysis. And once this pops up, we are going to go over to miscellaneous, and we're going to select data carve. We'll talk about carving in a different video, or you can attend training This is not about carving. This is about additional analysis. So we'll select JPEG because that is what we want to carve. And that's why we're running this additional analysis. Notice that you can narrow your target processing to a certain subset of files determined by you. Checked items currently listed, anything there, or all the items in the case if you wanted to run it on the whole case. And then we don't have any items highlighted, so that's grayed out. If we did, it would be also available for selection. You then have all the options except for about 2 different options to process in your case. So you can expand more compound files, do exit for videos, etc. You have your search options that you can index search, add that later, optical character recognition, hashing, and so forth. And this allows you to do targeted processing on only subsets of files that you want to look at. So we can configure any of this, all of this, whatever you want. So for example, in the real world, I would run hashing at a later time only over the files that I was going to report on. Again, if I wasn't using duplicates or known file filter or anything like that that relied on hashing. What is the processing option going to return to you that is useful to you? If you're not using any feature that depends on hashing, don't waste the time hashing. So we have carving selected. We'll go ahead, carve our checked items. We'll click OK. We'll switch over to the additional analysis job to see its progress. All right, so it finished in 19 seconds. And it popped some errors generating some SWF files, but that is not going to affect our carve. So we'll go ahead and click close. First off, let's take a look. We had this picture here, not in hex. We had this picture here of this garden area. If we select the picture that we carved, remember we selected this so I could show you, we carved out the thumbnail from that graphic. Cool. iPhones store a thumbnail of the picture that it took inside of the EXIF data of the photo. So if you carve iPhone data or pictures taken by iPhones, you're going to get a bunch of these thumbnails. All right, so we also have one over here that hit in the unallocated space that we carved. It's another thumbnail. Now, it's beyond the scope of this, but what you could do now is right-click and view on disk, and you get this view of around it. The picture starts down here, and we can see EXIF data from its parent, and so we can still get qualities. Again, we'll do that in another video later and show you the workflow for that. But again, what we're looking at here is additional analysis. We didn't process something, carved files in this case, up front, and we jumped in later and carved for JPEGs, and we found one in unallocated space, and we also busted out a bunch of thumbnails out of some iOS images. So again, when you go into a case, if you set your processing options, you don't have to set everything to be on up front. You can focus your initial processing on either general items or the stuff that you know or suspect will be there. And then if you need to do more stuff or deeper analysis, you can always run additional analysis while you head off to lunch. So this has been FTK Feature Focus. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next week.